Hello, I'm Chaplain Robert Terrell, and this is your December 21st, 2020 Monday Motivator. I'd like to begin today by thanking several of you who have given me ideas for Monday Motivators. I really appreciate it because I want to make sure that this Monday segment relates to all of us. Matter of fact, next week's Monday Motivator comes from one of you, and I really appreciate that. If you have ideas that you'd like to be discussed, please message me through my contact information that's at the end of the video. I would love to hear what you think we should discuss and how I might be able to address it. Secondly, I thought I would tell you about a movie that I'm reminded of during the Christmas season. It's not a Christmas movie. It's not Die Hard, which some people have a debate about whether or not it's a Christmas movie or not. It's actually the Tom Hanks movie Castaway. It has nothing to do with Christmas, and yet for me, it reminds me of what Christmas is all about. The main reason it does is because if you've not ever seen this movie, it's about Tom Hanks being a castaway. Most of the movie, he's alone. And that's the worst thing that can happen to a human. Matter of fact, the worst punishment we have in prisons for people is that we put them in solitary confinement. If you do that long enough, you'll literally drive a human being crazy. We were not meant to be alone. And in this movie, again and again, he's alone. He finally takes a volleyball that he finds in some mail that washes up, and he takes it and treats it as his companion that he calls Wilson. The worst scene in the whole movie is when he loses Wilson. You know it's a volleyball, and yet it still crushes me every time. You see, again, we were not meant to be alone. And yet so often during the winter solstice, during the darkest time of our year, we feel very alone. As a matter of fact, in the midst of this pandemic, it's all the more a situation where we feel alone and isolated. But my faith, what we celebrate during the darkness of the winter, is the coming of our God. Matter of fact, he's called Emmanuel, which literally means God with us. You look at the nativity scenes, and it could look lonely. There was no room in the inn for them. The babe was born in a situation where there was no crib for him. Matter of fact, they took what we call a manger, which is just a fancy word for a feeding trough, and they put him in there. But that whole scene, while it can look lonely, is God choosing to be with his creation so that we would never be alone. There's a Swiss psychologist that I like named Carl Jung. Jung has a very famous quote that says, "Bidden or unbidden, God is present." Bidden's just an old way of saying asked for. Asked for or not asked for, God is here. So what I want to remind you during this Christmas season, during this season where there's darkness all around us, even when there's lights on our trees, is that you are not alone. God is with you. You may not feel him, but he's there. You are not alone. There are friends and family who care for you. There are coworkers who care for you. There are people around that want to be there for you. You are not alone. I hope you know that. If you do feel alone, please don't hesitate to call me. I'll remind you, you're not alone. I hope this week you are able to have a wonderful Christmas. And I hope that you remember that our CEO cares for you, and so do I. Have a very Merry Christmas.